morning, boys and girls. This morning, our assembly is in memory of our great Afro-American leaders. We are here to commemorate them, and we ask that you be mindful of paying close attention to what is being said, because I think you're going to learn many, many new things about African people and about people who have made interesting contributions throughout our county, that is Montgomery County. Mr. Bednar.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Patriotic song, stay standing, for this week is God Bless America.
I'm going to let him tell you a little more about his work. I introduce to you now Mr. Charles Blockson.
Good morning, boys and girls. Mr. Blockson. How many of you remembering from last year? I come here every year, don't I? That's good. All my friends. We have today a great occasion, the celebration of Afro-American history. You have just sung a stirring song, God Bless America. America is composed of all types of races, creeds, and colors. And therefore, throughout the year, we learn about the Dutch, the Swedes, the Poles, the Jews, the Greeks, the Chinese, the Japanese, the Mexican-Americans, and many other types of people. Today, I want to give you a little information about some of the people who made names for themselves throughout the world from our own town of Norristown and other parts of the county. I can look back and think about the days that I went to Galtwall around your age. I didn't know what I wanted to be when I grew up. One time I wanted to be an athlete, which I was. One time I wanted to be a minister, which I did not become. One time I wanted to become a teacher, and so forth. But as you grow up, some of you will go out in life and become firemen, doctors, lawyers, dentists, nurses, actors, dancers, and so forth. So it's very important right now to make up your mind. Listen to your teachers, because they are the best friends, some of the best friends you'll ever have. And when you grow older, you will often look back and remember the days at Marshall Street. Remember your assemblies, your basketball games, your football games, your dances, your oratorical contests, and so forth. I went on into life to become a writer and a historian. I always loved history. History is very important. History is so important to us that we cannot exist without it. For instance, it's raining outside now. It's very important to the weatherman to know the history of the weather pattern. Sometimes they go back into the 1700s, the 1800s, and so forth. Sometimes when you become ill, you go to a doctor, and he studies the history of medicine. And those of you who become lawyers, they study the history of law. So today I want to give you a short review of some of the outstanding people from our own town. First of all, I'd like to mention a man by the name of Judge Horace Davenport. Davenport, who is a product of Norristown School District. He's the first black judge of Montgomery County. And some of you perhaps, you've seen Judge Davenport walking down from his home from Schuylkill Avenue to the courthouse in Norristown. His sister, Mildred Davenport, back in 1940, which seemed like a long time ago, was one of the first black movie stars. And she was the first black movie star for Norristown. She played in many, many pictures. Mildred Davenport. I want to go on to mention a great athlete, one whom I had the pleasure to participate with, who went to the old Washington School and later Rittenhouse School, junior high school, and Norristown by the name of Joshua Colbreth. Joshua Colbreth, who went on to become a member of the 1956 Olympic team. And during the same time, another outstanding young man who went to Gottwald and later to Stewart and finally to Norristown High School, Robert Barksdale, who set a world record in the high jump, the indoor high jump. A man who came through Gottwald School and whose family still lives in the Norristown area, Leonard Simon. Leonard Simon is now the Director of Art and Culture for the state of California. Monica Magnus, who graduated several years ago, is a leading model. She traveled throughout the world, and she now lives in California. I also would like to bring up the name of an outstanding young attorney, Richard Rogers. Richard Rogers, who has an office on DeKalb Street. Richard Rogers went through the Hancock Elementary School, later to Rittenhouse, then to Norristown, from there to Franklin Marshall College in Lancaster. He's a well-known attorney. Lemuel Rogers, his brother, Dr. Lemuel Rogers, who now has a practice in Rochester, New York. Calvin Griffin, Dr. Calvin Griffin, also a product of Gottwald, who now has a practice in Washington, D.C., and another doctor, Dr. Sim, Wilbur Sim. So these are some of the people who have made a name for themselves. Let us go on to talk about track and field. A very outstanding young woman by the name of Nita Young. Nita Young set a state record. Matter of fact, she broke 3 state records in track and field while she was a student at Norristown High School. Tony Darton, perhaps some of you know Tony Darton. He still competes for various track and field clubs throughout the country. He's a product of Hancock Elementary School and later to Norristown, and soon after he went to Arizona State. And Tony Darton also is a member of several world record-breaking track and field teams. Thomas Griffin is a distinguished music teacher for the state of New York. Many, many years ago, he won the American Legion Award at Stewart Junior High School and went on to make a name for himself throughout the country. Fred Thomas graduated Norristown High School in 1935 and later distinguished himself as a great singer, concert singer, traveling throughout the world. Jeanette Spearman is another model. She's a model who is now living in Paris, and perhaps you've seen her pictures on some of the latest magazines. Dr. Andrew Livingston, a scientist. We have many black scientists in our history. For instance, one, every time you come to school, you must stop at a traffic light. The traffic light was invented by a man by the name of Garrett Morgan. Garrett Morgan invented the traffic light. So we have Dr. Andrew Livingston from Norristown, a great scientist. Dr. Robert Branson, who grew up on Cherry Street in Norristown, went on to Stewart Junior High School, later from there to Norristown High School into Penn State, where he participated in the track team. He's our leading psychologist living in Rochester, New York. So I can go on and on and on, naming outstanding black Americans and blacks who later distinguished themselves as great men and women throughout this country. We're talking about black history today, and I can go on and tell you about some of my white friends whom I went to school with who distinguished themselves. But since we are talking about black history, I want to say to you, all of you, that in spite of your color, race, or creed, you should always remember the great song, the stirring song that you just sung, My Country 'Tis of Tea, and America the Beautiful, and God Bless America. These songs are very, very important. Thank you very much.
Our first selection was Joshua Fought the Battle of Jericho. And now our second spiritual will be Rock of My Soul.